what got me into IT was actually through music. I started, I was a former musician out in LA in a touring rock band, and we didn't make it to the level that I wanted to, and had a lot of fun doing it. Played a lot of the clubs on the Sunset Strip, went on tour, and after the fact, I still think that if I had my music degree before being in a band, I really do think we could have made it. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I got my music degree after I got out of a band. And I got 2 music degrees. One's in composition, one's in choral music. And it really helped me understand music. And what I started doing was doing everything, recording all my music using computers. And so putting all my compositions together on computers, printing them all out, and so whatever projects we had to do for class, I came in with the printed out music sheets. I invested some money in that, and everyone's hand copying it back then. So all my music looked really cool. The instructor's like, "Oh, that looks very nice." I don't know what it sounded like, but it looked very nice. And I used a Mac. I had an old Mac 2SI that cost me. It was used, had software on it, but it cost me $4,000, and it included a used printer too. It was pretty expensive. But yeah, it was through music that I got involved with IT, and because of the creating the compositions of music, I actually had to start doing some Apple script, and that's what kind of got me into the interest of programming. So. Well, this is where you can pan to the monitor here. And so what I try to do is I try to always find what are the most employable skills. And these are the skills that I'm trying to teach in my courses, and what I feel that are very highly demanded employable skills by prospective employees. So if you look at the first one, it's programming and application development, right? And so again, what I like about that, it just encompasses many various aspects of IT. So it's programming, but there's other things that are involved as well too, like user interface design, right? Connecting to a data source, right? What's the next one? Well, project management, okay? And that is not just IT. You have to have IT skills to be a good project manager, because you can't lead somebody without knowing the consequences of what you're telling them to do. You have to have some background. You don't have to be a great programmer, but you have to have some programming background. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is help desk technical support, right? And I think all students should have that. I started off with help desk support, and you learn a lot doing that. Also learn how to deal with people, right? And faculty particularly. Security, compliance, governance. It's huge. Everything involves security, and I'm going to touch base on this in some of the other questions here, but that's another component. Web development. Okay, and I see number 1, programming and web development as really one and the same. So you could do HTML skills, and that's the fundamental, right? HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, right? But then you really need to get into some type of server-side development, like PHP, ASP.NET, or Java Server Pages and Servlets, and that's really into programming. This is more like, I would say, client-side development, right? But really, 1 and 5 is a confluence of all those skills. Database administration. Now, this is where I would disagree here, because I would say that 6 should be number 1. Why? Because everything revolves around data. You're not going to have an application, a mobile application, a web application, any application without data. So that really should be number 1. And I always tell my students, you first focus on the creation, the data architecture, and everything is built around that. The data architecture is the heart and soul of your application. BI, also data analytics, are very sought after. mobile application and device management, right? And again, I would consider 1 and 6 and 8, I'm sorry, 1 and 5 and 8 together, okay? Networking. This is all in my list here before I even looked at this. Okay, it's big data, that's a hot topic too, but I would put big data and 7 together, because really that's what it is. Everybody's got big data, but how do you analyze the data? You know, and what information can you glean from that data, right? How do I know where to put Fruit Loops in what aisle next to where? Well, you know, based upon the data, based upon data analytics and data warehousing, you know, generally you'll find milk not too far away from cereal, right? It's because of that. It's because of big data analytics. Okay, so to answer your question, I think computer world hit it right on the nose there. Those are the top 10. Research the skills that are most in demand. And again, I think all faculty need to do that too in whatever field that they're teaching. They need to research what skills are in demand. I would feel remiss if my students came out of my class without employable skills. That's kind of how, that's the barometer that I use when I'm teaching. What students are getting jobs, and then I try to maintain a communication line with them. You know, speaking to them, you know, please email me, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what skills that you're using in your job. Let me know if what you learned in the classes here was relevant to your new position. So I find a lot about that for my students. But yeah, what can you do to stay relevant at your company? I would say that you could reword that to what can you do to stay current at your company, and that is to research the skills that are most in demand. Studying hard and practicing IT skills, because once you get out of school, you're going to be working, you're going to be hustling. So, you know, I think some students, I know everyone's busy, but I think focusing on studying hard and practicing, not just reading, but practicing your skills. And I guess with students now, it seems like, I think they need to read more, right? You can't get everything on YouTube. You can get things rather quickly, but you can't get the depth of knowledge that you need to by reading, you know. And I take that to heart when I select my textbooks for courses. That, you know, I try to get books that are interesting, but also that are meaningful, so students can use them as reference texts when they get out of school. So to answer your question again, starting hard and practicing your IT skills while you're in school, because you're not going to get the chance to when you're out. Well, that actually, you can do the next question too, because it's really what I started off in, and that was web development. Back in the day, my first web page that I saw was in 1993, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. You got that, you know, from somewhere, right? It came from somewhere, and a big thing then was to have an image and a hyperlink, you know, on the page, and so that was a big thing, and then it just blossomed from there. But for me, if you were graduating from a college with an IT degree, what specific area of IT would you want to go in? For me, it's web application development, because it requires various IT skills. Web application development, in its truest sense, requires database skills, requires some knowledge of security, requires some knowledge of networking, requires beaucoup knowledge of data architecture, and it also, you know, more so now, it requires some understanding, not some understanding, of everything now is mobile first design, right? So you want to have your web applications so that they're accessible for the mobile first, and then to other devices as well. So there's a lot of frameworks that you can use that will enable that. But that's what, again, what I love about web application development, because you're also, you know, using your logical side, logical brain, and your aesthetic side, your right brain activity, because you have to make the site not only, and this is with all application development, not just web application development, but even standalone applications. You have to make it primarily functional, right? But you also have to make it aesthetically pleasing so that, you know, someone will want to buy it, right? But it also has to have that user experience, the user interface experience. It has to be tested by non-users. So there's a lot of things that go into application development, but for me, what I enjoy about what I do is the web application development, because it can be broken down into so many discrete components. Again, it was web development, so yeah. Mobile / web application development, because everything is going towards that right now. I mean, it's actually transcends, and it is the number one burgeoning technology that's growing faster than anything else, and that's mobile application development. So, you know, again, you know, write once and read many times, right? Why would you want to have to, and this is why I teach non-native mobile application development, so that you're not writing for iOS or BlackBerry or Android, and then you have to write again for each individual device. I think that's time consuming and a waste of resources, to be honest with you. I'm teaching non-native application development, meaning that the students are, number one, getting a domain name, number two, finding out and researching, acquiring a web host, and then number three, using mobile application frameworks that they can write once and read many times from any device. So again, I think that you're going to see in the upcoming years that which area of technology has the most potential for growth. I think it's mobile application development.